But the thing is, does that mean that 20% of blood donors, their blood's used by 80% of the...
maybe 80% of the blood donations come from 20% of the population. Maybe that would be it, because I've never donated blood. I guess I'm selfish. I don't know. I should probably do that.
Blood. So can we say that 20% of the Dracula films result in 80% of the vampires?
Or the enjoyment. 20% of all movies are probably responsible for 80% of income in the box office. There you go. So, we could talk about examples forever, but what I thought would be useful is, what if we start thinking about and discussing for the rest of this episode where this has applied in our own lives? Because, you know, as we go through our personal development academy and we restructured all of the things, we're redeveloping personal development academy version 2.0, coming sometime in the next
to a theater
6 years,
to a vampire grade near you. Yeah.
But we came up with all these different avenues where personal development skills apply to your life. Where do personal development, the central thesis we had, and this was your statement that you got from, I can't remember who, but the idea was everyone wants to feel better, right? Yep. Everyone wants to live a better life. Yeah. How do you know? Yeah. Tony Robbins. There you go.
Everybody wants to feel better.
So feel better. Basically, if you had more money, you feel better. If your health is better, you feel better. If you are happier in a relationship, you feel better. If you have a more enjoyable job, you feel better.
If you're aching pain-free, you feel better.
If you like stop talking about nonsense, you feel better. Okay, so
20% of those were probably useful.
Right. So when we think about it, how do you feel better? Well, these feel better moments apply to all the major areas of your life, right? So we've got like your work situation, your relationships, your health and fitness, your recreation, and your money/wealth. And we debated whether or not your time counts as an area, but not really.
It's hard to say, you know, like the whole time thing is...
I don't think, we decided it doesn't count as a category because time is a universal concept. We all have exactly as much time as we have. We all have the same 24 hours in a day.
Well, unless we move it near light speed.
Time is something that we can choose to invest in things, right? And if you don't invest it, you lose it. So you are investing in either something useful or you're burning it. Right? I mean, if you think about it, like imagine that time was 24 $1 bills, and every hour you've either got to use it to buy something that's useful in your life, or you light it on fire and it's gone because you've done nothing. You've just done nothing with it. So there's your metaphor.
So we started a fire and I threw my watch in.
So let's go through these, Mike, and let's see.
Let's go through them, Chris.
Let's see if we can figure out something useful to share from our own lives from the different categories. Now, I have some notes in here, but we'll randomly insert them.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking, what's this laziness principle? I think I know where you're going, but I'm going to let you describe it.
Yeah, so there are some people will think about this as 80-20 principle. I'm not sure it's truly an 80-20 principle thing, but when I was a kid, okay, I'll just tell you the story first, and then I'll tell you how it applies. So when I was in high school, so we're probably talking about 1990-ish, 1990, somewhere. I was halfway through high school. And I was going to high school in a suburb of Ottawa. And at the end of the day, there was no buses, like yellow school buses to take us home. It was public transportation, OC, Ottawa Carleton Transpo. The OC Transpo bus system took us home. So we left school, we crossed the street, and we waited for the bus. But guess what? Every other kid in the school did exactly the same thing.
Crowded bus stop.
So you've got a crowded bus stop. Buses can only fit so many people. They would send usually enough buses to kind of handle the traffic because they know when the school is let out, and they can't have people waiting for 2 hours to get on
and they
the bus.
don't own like 70 buses when they need.
But still, you might wait. I mean, you might wait 15 minutes for enough buses to come by to get home. So here's what we did instead. Me and my friends, we would simply walk away from the direction of home. In other words, north for us. We would walk north to the next stop up the street. And there'd still be a bunch of kids waiting there because there was a crowd right outside the high school. Then one stop up, there'd be a smaller crowd. 2 stops up, even smaller crowd. And oh man, if you were ambitious enough to like walk 3 bus stops,
oh my goodness,
you were getting on a bus right away. No problem.
So you're saying you're applying the Pareto principle here because 80% of the kids were at the same freaking stop.
Yeah.
And so you got to contend with them. You know, this is interesting because I inadvertently did something similar, and I'm not dicking around here, surprisingly. But when we were teaching back in the days when we used to teach at Brennan Hall, University of Toronto in Charbonneau,
which we have no relationship
with. We have no relationship with them whatsoever. God be eternally praised. But having said that, I used to come home, Bay and Bloor.
Yes.
I would get on the subway at Bay Street. Why? Because it's one stop west of the big rush. And everybody would just come crowding in the crowdery, and I'd already have a seat. It was just, and pretend to be asleep, so then you don't have to give it up to anyone because they're, they need it.
Absolutely. This is so absolutely true. In fact, Mike, and that's where the laziness principle comes in. I'm not entirely sure that it maps perfectly into 80-20, but you can imagine it doesn't matter. These are models. These are useful tools. We're looking to give you guys some useful stuff to actually improve your life.